Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, well, this is a space where you'll find my calisthenics workouts and workout tips. So whether you're a beginner or a long-time practitioner in calisthenics, this is a safe space with no ego where you will find a whole bunch of effective and accessible ways to train. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna get you to hit that subscribe button now, and then let's get to today's topic. So in today's video, I will be sharing 3 tips that will help you improve your press-ups. So let's get to it, guys. So in tip number 1, don't forget to retract your shoulder blades and engage your lats. All right, so what do I mean when I say retracting your shoulder blades and engaging your lats? Well, first of all, I want you to grab yourself a shoehorn or a broomstick, or even better if you have it, a steel bar, all right? Something that you're gonna try and bend in half, but you're not actually gonna break, all right? So, go grab yours. So I've got a shoehorn. Some of you might actually be strong enough and will end up breaking your shoehorn, so maybe get a broomstick or something, all right? So I want you to stand holding your stick, your object of choice, all right, about shoulder width apart. And I want you to imagine that you're trying to bend it in half, right? So keep your arms nice and straight, all right? And we're trying to bend it in half using our back and our arms, and not just trying to bend it like this in half with your arms, all right? So we're gonna stay here and we're gonna bend it, all right? And try and bend it. So, and then hold in that bottom position of the bend, all right? Rather than releasing. Let's hold it here, all right? And so what's happening now is that you're gonna feel all of this engaging, right? So think about also retracting the shoulder blades, pulling back the shoulder blades, squeezing them together, and bending the bar, all right? So that feeling in your upper back, around here, and in your lats here, is actually what you need to be feeling in your press-ups, right? So I know a lot of people feel it in their shoulders only or in their triceps, which is great, which is the muscles that are working as well. But it is really key to engage everything that I have just mentioned. So let's take it down to the floor, all right? That same feeling that you felt in your upper back and your lats, I want you now to, with that whole bending bar motion, I want you to do the same thing on the floor, hands flat on the floor in your press-up position. But I want you to imagine now that you've got like a really thick piece of paper, a giant thick piece of paper, and you're trying to tear it apart in the same way that you're trying to bend the bar, all right? So we're gonna take let's take a slightly wider than shoulder width width of our hands, so normal press-ups, all right? Let me try and go a bit angled so like maybe you can see me a little bit better. So from this position, all right, I want you to again imagine that there's that piece of paper. Now you're gonna try and tear it apart, all right? Try and tear that paper apart, but without actually allowing your hands to rotate on the floor. So hands are stuck. They're stuck in that same position, but you're trying to tear that paper apart, all right? So once again, that is that feeling all the way up here and your upper back that you should be feeling as you're doing your press-ups. Now, imagining that again as you're lowering down into your press-ups and release, all right? So as you're lowering, you're gonna tear that piece of paper and then come back up. Once again, tear that piece of paper and come back up, right? Same thing if you're on your knees. Tear the piece of paper, come back up. All right? So this is sort of one of the important key things when you're doing your press-ups that people are missing, because a lot of people are forgetting about all of this and they're just imagining the press-up as, predominantly an arm exercise, really. And then what happens is you're not retracting, people go like this, it's a very different sort of feeling, like right now I'm feeling it like just here, but really to improve your press-ups, you have to think about it as a compound exercise that is engaging and utilizing multiple muscles, all right? And that is how you perfect your form and get a little bit more efficient in your press-ups and engage all the right muscles, alrighty? So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, don't forget to engage your core the entire time. So tip number 2, don't forget, I always say this and I repeat this in my classes, don't forget that a press-up is essentially a plank, but it's a plank in motion, right? So you need to be engaging your core and imagining your body is in a plank position, whether you are in a plank on your toes or a plank on your knees, all right? So how many times have you seen people doing press-ups, or maybe, for yourself, there are 2 different things, right? So women tend to, I'm gonna start with, let's go on my knees, right? So a lot of people forget to engage their core. So what happens is they come down to their press-ups and then they're like lifting their chest up first, right? So you come down and then you're lifting the chest up, right? Or the guys tend to, if they're on their toes, they're pressing up like this, right? So, when this happens, when everything's kind of sagging or the chest is coming up first, it's because you're forgetting about engaging your core and actually engaging your glutes and everything, right? You need to be tight from head to toe when you're doing your press-ups, right? So if you are fully engaged in that core, right, and you get to the bottom and you're really tired, if you engage it more, it's going to be so much easier to press up because, it's like if you imagine like trying to push a really floppy object, for example, that's going to be a lot harder than trying to push an object that is like solid. Do you know what I mean? It is going to move more efficiently. So engage your core, and yeah, you'll find that especially when you get tired, pause at the top, re-engage your core, come down, and then come back up again. The core is very, very important in your press-ups. Tip number 3, make sure you find the right variation for your level. So finally, the 3rd tip, all right, is to find the level that, to find the variation that works for you, right? So the important thing here is when you are doing your press up, right? If you want to make sure that you are really effectively working the muscles, well, you need to be going full range, right? There's no point doing little half reps because then, if you're doing half reps, your triceps aren't really getting the full benefit of the workout. So we need to stop thinking about a press up as, as like, I guess a skill or, a skill or an activity or something like that. Because sometimes I feel like, there's this fine line between thinking of an exercise as an exercise that helps you build muscle and thinking of it as a skill. Do you know what I mean? And so when you think about it as a skill, a lot of people kind of forget about, well, how am I engaging the muscles, effectively? So it's an exercise, and at the end of the day, it is an exercise that helps you build muscle, right, and build strength. So you need to be going full range. And it's quite interesting because in my observation, and I'm not trying to be like sexist or anything here, categorizing men and women separately, but but this is something that actually really does tend to happen, is that I've been teaching calisthenics for a really long time, and women tend to, because they don't really have the strength, the upper body strength that a lot of men do, they have difficulty getting all the way down. So you see women doing half reps, but they're not going low enough. But then men, for some reason, they do manage to get really low, but they don't go all the way and fully extend. So in my classes, I'm always like, fully extend, you know, because if you don't go all the way out, the triceps are not getting fully engaged, all right? So you need to go all the way down and all the way up, right? So how do you do this when you're like, well, I'm not that strong and, you know, well, you are strong. Everybody's strong, all right? It's all relative here. But we all need to find our level. We need to find the variation that allows us to go full range, right? So, you know, you got on your toes. If you can do it from your toes, you can go full range this way, all right? But it needs to be all the way up and all the way down. And then if you can't do it that way, then you do it on your knees, all right? If you can't do it on your knees on the floor, then you can do it on your knees on something, you know, like a stepper, right? So I've got my little stepping stool here, which is a little bit narrow, but, you know, if you're at the gym, you can get a Reebok stepper. And then, you know, you can go up to here. So here's another sort of variation. And, you know, if you're at home, you got all kinds of other stuff to work with. You've got your coffee table that might be higher than this, you know? You've got your dining table that may be higher than this. So play around and see which variation allows you, challenges you, but at the same time allows you to go all the way down and then all the way up, all right? So yeah, that is tip number 3. Well, there you go, guys. Hopefully you found that helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And if you're looking for more tips and workouts like this, don't forget to subscribe.